Hello, and welcome to Sleep Stories with the Slumbering Seagull. These videos were made to help you sleep. So wherever you are, underneath the sun or underneath the stars, get relaxed and comfortable and let yourself drift away. Tonight's sleep story is called The Wandering Warrior and the Sweet Dove. Once upon a time, in a bustling kingdom called Athea, there was a small, quiet town called Pinecrest Ridge, nestled near the mountains. Pinecrest Ridge was peaceful and serene, with friendly people and a strong sense of community. However, their peace was soon shattered when a patrol team member returned to the king, telling him that Barend and his army of no-good ruffians were slowly conquering lands in the south and were headed north, heading to Athia to overtake the kingdom and many more beyond it. The townspeople throughout the kingdom were frightened and didn't know what to do. Word spread like wildfire of this massive threat upon the land. Despite this, there was hope that would come from a rather unlikely place. One night, 10 years ago, the clouds were heavy with rain. The wind picked up and started to blow and howl. A messenger held tight to a letter as he ran down the road, racing towards the army blockhouses. A frantic knock on the door disrupted the tired general. "Who is it?" the general asked. "General Turu, this is urgent. I have a letter for you sent from the Speckle household at Pinecrest Ridge." The messenger tried to catch his breath between words as he handed the general the letter. General Turu took it and opened it immediately. "To my dearest friend Turu Ota, I hope this finds you promptly. First, I thank you deeply for always being there for me and my husband throughout our many years of friendship. You two fought gallantly together, faced foes, and also faced the highs and lows of life, practically side by side. Other than myself, you were the closest person to my late husband. Ever since we lost Neil, you would always tell me that if I needed anything, to just ask. And so I must now take you up on that offer. I know that I don't have much longer. I have no siblings, and Neil's family disowned him after he married me. Would you please take care of my son for me? Please take him in as your own flesh and blood, that he would not be alone until the time comes that he is able to step out into the world on his own. I know I'm asking much of you, but this is the best option I can think of for my baby boy. Rushing rivers of gratitude to you, brother. Love, Helena Speckle." Tears poured down General Turu's face While he sat in his office, he took a deep breath and then began to write his reply. 10 years later. Andrew Speckle was just 19 years of age. He was a strong young man, but struggled with the pain of losing his parents. His father fought hard in battle and rose in the ranks to become a lieutenant. Unfortunately, he lost his life in battle defending the kingdom from a warring neighboring nation in the east when Andrew was 8. He had become an orphan after his mother passed of an illness only a year later. Andrew's guardian was Turu Ota, a skilled warrior and a high-ranking general who had trained for years in the king's army to become an expert in combat. Andrew was shaping up to be a sharp young man. He had a habit of getting distracted, unfortunately. These distractions would usually lead him into quite a bit of trouble. Turu walked into his home to see his wife sewing clothes in her favorite chair. "Hello, my dear," he said with more weight on his chest than usual. "Hello, sweetie." She glanced at him with a look of concern, put down her project, and hurried over to where he stood just past the door. "Are you all right?" He hesitated. "Yes, dear, I'm all right," he replied and embraced her. She studied him, knowing there must be much more to be said, but patiently backed away from the temptation to pry the information out of him. "Oh," he sighed. "And where is Andrew?" "Well, that's a mystery to us both," she said, slightly annoyed at the fact that this wasn't anything new. "He's probably out climbing the mountains again." "He should be here, practicing his school lessons," Turu said with aggravation. His wife reached out and touched his arm. "He's just restless. You know how he gets. Now sit and eat something." Turu's frustration eased. I'm sorry. I'll eat later. I'll go and find him." Then he lowered his head. He held his wife's hands and decided to share what weighed him down. "I received some terrible news today, my darling." Meanwhile, Andrew was indeed climbing away at the mountain. He loved being out in the beautiful nature. The scenery was breathtaking no matter how many times he returned there. This time, something startled him as he made his way back home. The sound of a man and a horse in distress. He followed the sound further down the mountainside. Then he came upon an old man with white hair and gray eyes. The man was not alone. Standing on the side of the road was a child. The man was trying to help his horse and small wagon out of the mud. He pulled and pulled, but was unable to free the horse up out of the mud. "Would you like some help, sir?" Andrew asked. "Oh, sorry, I've bothered you. Yes, I would. My name is Carl, and this is my son, John." Andrew and Carl shook hands and worked together to get the horse and wagon free. Together, they succeeded. After freeing the cart and horse, Carl thanked Andrew for his efforts. He offered Andrew some money, but Andrew refused the offer. "It's okay. It was no problem, really. Please save your money." "Are you headed to Pinecrest? If anything, I could use a ride." Come on then. We're headed to wherever the nearest town is. You can show us the way. Carl smiled and welcomed Andrew onto the wagon. Just before he got on, Andrew noticed a dove fly overhead. What an elegant creature, he thought to himself. Wow, I haven't seen a dove in this area for a long time. Oh yeah, said the old man, doves are lovely. It's almost like this one's been following us. Haha, he laughed to himself. I'm probably just making it up. We haven't eaten in a while. My eyes may just be playing tricks on me. Then they started on their way back into town. Did you underestimate the length of your journey? Andrew asked. Sorrow filled Carl's eyes as he explained. In a hushed tone, he spoke of the reason for his long and treacherous journey. We had no intention on making this trip, but our town was attacked and only a few people made it out. Carl explained that Baran and his goons had taken over his hometown. I'm just looking for somewhere safe to start over. Andrew felt sorry for Carl and his son. Maybe you can stay with us. I couldn't impose that on your family. I could ask real quick. Well, at least if you can stay for dinner. Okay, but if the answer is no, don't worry about it. We will manage. Turu was a little bit a ways from the house when he spotted Andrew running towards him. Andrew, where have you? Turu, my apologies. I'll do extra housework, whatever you'd like. But can we please help my friends? What friends? Turu said, confused. Andrew pointed a few feet away to Carl and his son and the wagon. I don't recognize these people. This is Carl and his son. They don't have anywhere to go. Andrew, this is ridiculous. Let them find a room at the inn. Please, Taru, I'm begging you. Taru was about to say no when he saw a dove fly down and perch on top of the wagon. He thought for a second and then gave a silent nod. Fine, but just one night, Andrew. Then they must go on their way. Andrew was shocked. He was sure it would take a lot more negotiating to get the answer he hoped for. Okay, I'll walk them in. Thank you, sir. Andrew turned to go tell Carl and his son the good news. And he saw the dove. Whoa, he thought, is it the same dove from before? He wondered to himself. Suddenly the dove flew away. Carl and John thanked Turu and his wife for allowing them to stay the night. While eating, Turu softly investigated. So what brings you to our small town? Carl shared the same story with Turu. After sharing what had happened, he said, I won't go into much detail for now. I'd like to spare my son from reliving the memories. Turu's eyes grew wide. They are already that close, he thought to himself. May I speak with you outside then? The insight that you may have could help this town and kingdom. Why, yes, of course. Anything to repay your kindness, sir. Andrew didn't fully understand Turu's reaction. He snuck outside after Turu and Carl to hear their conversation. So it is indeed Barand at the cause of all this. Turo clenched his fists with anger. Carl, rushing rivers of thanks to you for all that you have shared with me. It brings me sorrow to hear the tragedy that befell your town. If we are not careful, that will be the fate of us all. Turo knew that Barand needed to be stopped, and he was determined to save his town and the kingdom. The king called for meetings with all the generals and head armymen to create strategies to protect the land. All the soldiers were directed to double the intensity of their training. One night the king called Turo into a private meeting. King Haruto, the wise, had only been in power for a handful of years, but everything he touched seemed to prosper. General Turo, you are one of the best leaders and fighters I have at my service. The information from this traveler will help us to have an upper hand and be as ready as possible for Barand's invasion. Please don't take offense to what I have to say next. I hope you will not fight, Turo. You are getting older, and I have reports that indicate you are no longer at your prime. Turo tensed up at first, but he knew the king was right. But sire, we need all the men we can assemble. I understand this. Do you know why they call me Haruto the Wise? Because you have great intellect and diplomacy, I believe. I have reached out to our allies in the northeast. I have the word of King Remuel and King Saji that they will unite with us in this battle. And General Du, my greatest wisdom comes from prayer. Turo nodded respectfully. Yes, my king. I do not want you to fight with your fists, but I do need you to help with your battle tactics, said the king. As you wish, my king, said Turo. Good night, my friend. Go and try to rest, said the king. Turo packed all his things and began to make his way home. He heard the usual clanking swords from the soldiers, getting their last bit of practice in for the night. You're pretty good for a young man with no real training, said the soldier. That's because I've trained for 10 years with General Turo. Turo recognized that voice. Oh no, he thought to himself. How did he get here? How did he get in there? Andrew, that better not be you I hear over there. Andrew got distracted by Turo's voice, yelling from across the training field. The soldier took this opportunity to strike and push Andrew down onto the ground. A few other soldiers laughed. Good try, Andrew. Maybe next time, a female voice said. Andrew thought it may have been a passerby, but didn't see any lady when he scanned around. Andrew, get over here now, Turo thundered. Andrew got up and put the armor and sword aside, and then ran over to Turo. I'm sorry, sir. I'm sorry to anger you. I borrowed Carl's wagon and came here to train today. Turo was shocked. You've been here all day? Never do this without telling me. Yes, sir, but I did ask Carl's permission and... I did do well today, sir. I just want to make you and everyone who has helped me proud. If you are proud of me, then I think that means my parents, if they were still here, that they would be proud of me as well. Andrew, you shouldn't have. Turo noticed the dove perched in a tree right next to them. Andrew looked as well. That cannot be the same bird, can it? What? Turo asked. What are you saying? Is this Carl's bird? Huh? No, I don't think so, said Andrew. But he did say while he was on his travels, he had seen it multiple times, I guess. He even said it almost seemed like it was following him. Could that be true? Would it be following him? Or me? Sighed Turo. Let's talk about this at home, okay? Okay then, said Andrew. They got home and spoke for a moment. Doves to me are just like any other animal, said Turo. But some people, they think that they are a sign. Well, people like your father, I mean. Whenever he saw a dove, he would cheer up. He would say, Turo, this dove came today to remind me that there is still hope, no matter what happens. I wouldn't argue with him because I guess I wanted to believe it too. But down in town, we don't see a lot of doves here, so it is odd to me that, well, anyway, there are more pressing matters to worry about, said Turo. Andrew. He looked Andrew deep in his eyes. You don't need to become a soldier. You need to focus on your studies. I am proud of you already. I see that you are brave, and I see that you are kind. Battles and wars are dark times. Turo began to tear up. I want you to live a full life, my boy. Your parents would want that. Andrew was quiet, then finally spoke. Okay. They said goodnight and went to bed.